love the sound of that organ. Good morning. Welcome both in the sanctuary and online, YouTube Live, to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. We are on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. My name is Ben Atherton-Zeman. I am the minister here, and today is New Member Sunday.
Yes.
Pretty exciting. There's so much going on today. I'm excited to bring you today's worship service, which is entitled, deep breath, The Vulnerability of a Liberal Religion, Painting a Target on Our Front Door. I try to keep the titles short, but I failed. And I'm joined by today's worship associate, who is also the head of the worship team, Todd Wellman.
Hey, thanks, man. Good to see you all. Hello. If you want a church where today you see a pro-choice guy or two at the front,
spoiler alert, that's Todd and me,
you may have found your church home. We have two announcements today. The first is an announcement about announcements. It's very meta. Surprised there's not a committee about if we should have announcements, but some of you have asked us to make an announcement about announcements. You know, we take the feedback. So we realize the logic of announcements may have shifted over the last year, and so we've pretty much shifted to trying to have one announcement, and mind you, today there will be two, because this one is sort of like 1A. And the announcement for the day will be something that is happening today in the church or very, very soon. We would like to really encourage you to be submitting announcements as members to put in the order of service that's handed out in the congregation and or on the e-newsletter, and you can contact the church office about that. But an announcement, okay, here's an example of a real announcement, not a fake announcement, it's the real one. Today at 1:30, the Covenant of UU Pagans, also known as CUPS, will be holding a celebration of the spring equinox. All are welcome. Again, today 1:30, contact
Chris McDonald?
Chris McDonald, not Risk McDonald. See, it's good too to make mistakes. Chris McDonald, 1:30, today, UU Pagans, for spring equinox. And again, please read your order of service and the weekly newsletter.
Chris, are you here, by the way? I haven't seen you yet this morning. She is here. She is getting ready for the cups. Thanks, Todd. So as Unitarian Universalists, we are a people of diverse beliefs, including pagans and Christians and Muslims and humanists and so many other people and folks like me who are still figuring it out. But we are sharing a common faith that every person is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, and that we're connected to one another and to the earth. So whoever you are and wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here. And speaking of Muslims,
yes, celebrate Ramadan with us today, if that is one thing you would like to celebrate. For the next few weeks, Muslims in particular will be, so Ramadan Mubarak for those who do celebrate.
Ramadan Mubarak. I want to give a special welcome to any newcomers. I got to chat with two of you before. And if you are new to St. Pete, oh, there's Chris McDonald. Hi, can you wave, Chris, so that people would see who you are? I said you. There she is waving. But she's not raising her hand because she's new. So if you can now wave if you're new, or if you're relatively new, I will wave back to you. Hello. If you want, you can say your name and what brought you here. But that's terrifying for some, so you don't have to. Anyone willing? Okay, great. Thanks.
I'm almost to you. I'm almost
Matt,
to you.
he's going to come with you.
You are, Matt.
Okay. My name is Matt, and I was a member of the UU Church in Sarasota. Just recently moved to the area and decided to check it out because it's only a mile away.
Thank you, Matt. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Christy Caraway. I'm actually from Tampa. I've kind of dabbled in UU for a bit over the years, and I just went online. I liked the way the church looked, and of course the messaging of UU in general just kind of aligns with me, so I appreciate you guys for being here. Thanks.
Welcome, Christy. Right behind you.
I'm the introvert here, so I'm going to just hand this over.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is Steve, and we are visiting from Chicago. Chicago suburbs. We are members of the UU Church in Geneva, out there for anyone that's familiar with the Chicago suburbs. And yeah, we're visiting Nissa, his daughter, and we're very excited to be here and see you all. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin Powers, and I'm here with husband John and Sophie and Cece. We're UUs from over near Tampa. We've kind of taken a break for a bit, and we're back. So I'm going to come meet all of y'all and be in your lovely church today. So.
Great, welcome. Glad to have you. Thanks for silencing your cell phones. By that I mean please silence your cell phones. You may notice there's not a lot of masks being worn, but we do encourage you to wear one as you are comfortable. Let's take a moment to greet our neighbor. And YouTube Live, you're not here in person, but your presence is felt. So YouTube Live folks, please use this moment to type into the text chat your name, where you're tuning in from, things like that. Here in the sanctuary, please get consent if you want to hug someone or shake their hand.
Morning, everyone. The flaming chalice is a reminder that we choose to focus here together for this time today, and that we believe such time is sacred. When Ben and Alex light our chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found in your programs and online in the text chat. Feel free to follow along with the two movements, which are hand to heart, and then hands reaching out like you're serving. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you, Alex. Now please rise as you are willing and able for our first hymn, Building a New Way. It's number 1017, that's 1017, in the teal or softback hymnal.
Good morning. We're gonna skip verse 3, so you'll find the words to number 4 down at the very bottom. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy, we are working to be free. Verse 4, peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Oh, yeah.
Woo! You may be seated.
Now, welcome again to any children who are present. Please join us at the front steps today, sitting there, for a time for all ages, led by Reverend Ben and Miss Trish.
Well, just you and I, it turns out. Come on up. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi.
Thank you. Just Reverend Ben today.
You have a big bag of stuff? That's great. That's great. Anyone else? They're coming. Yes, it is cute. Come on up. You gonna stay back? Okay, cool. Hello. Hey. You guys know Todd. Do you notice anything different about Todd? He does. He has a clown nose, and it looks great, and it looks funny, and you guys are laughing, and I've been laughing too. Here's the thing, though. Listen up for a second. Here's the thing. So he's been wearing it to school, and a lot of other kids are laughing at him, like a lot. Like it's become not comfortable for him. Like nobody sits with him at lunch. People stop playing with him. And I like what he's trying to do with this red nose. Like he's trying to spread love and joy in the world, but I don't like that nobody's sitting with him anymore. What should we do about this? Yeah.
We should say that's not nice. We should accept everybody the way they are.
Okay, so people who are ignoring them, yeah. We like that idea. Let them know. Go ahead.
We should be kind to him.
Okay, how should we be kind to him? What's a good way to be kind?
Tell people to stop laughing at them.
All right, stop laughing at him. Okay. Eli, what you got?
Don't judge a person by its face or body.
Don't judge a person by their face. All right. He looks kind of lonely up there now. Is there something we could do for him right now? Yeah.
We could say nice things to him.
Well, what do you want to say to him that's nice?
We could say it's okay that other people, it's okay that you feel, it's okay that other people might not, it's okay that you're different than everybody else.
It's okay you're different than everybody else? What were you going to say?
You can be nice to other people when them be nice to you, so respect others and be kind. And whenever you're sad or mad, take belly breath when you're happy or mad.
That's good. Now, so Todd is still kind of alone. Oh, well, no, I got to say another thing, because to be honest, I like this idea of telling other people to be nice to him, and some of Ashby, you're going over to be near him, which is great. Isn't that risky for us? Like, aren't we going to get teased too if we say these things and if we go hang out with him? Yeah? So maybe we shouldn't do it?
We should still hang out with him.
Even though it makes us more vulnerable, the word of the day, learning about vulnerability in RA, we should still do it?
Yes.
Okie doke. Well, you seem to have migrated over there. Let's finish the migration. Let's go be with Todd. Do you want us to be with you, Todd? Yeah. Okay, great. And if we could take it a step further, because I like what you're doing with these red noses, bringing joy and laughter into the world. I have one too. Would it feel supportive if I put on a red nose as well? Yeah. Okay, then I will join you. Would you like, oh, can you get the other red noses? And then anyone who wants to can wear a red nose. All right, go ahead and do you know how it works? Alex, go ahead, yeah, come on up. That'll bring Alex up, the red nose. Okay, do you know how to put them on? No, you got it, you did it, yeah. All right. And you got one for the, all right, let's all put on our red noses and be with Todd so he's not by himself. I think you got it. All right, great. Now Todd is not alone. And even though it makes us more vulnerable, because now we might get teased too, when you do the right thing, it's worth being vulnerable. And you're going to learn more about that in your classes. Thanks for coming to Time for All Ages. Now we come to time in our worship. Look at this. For joys, sorrows, and concerns. Those of you on YouTube Live, you're not in this room, but your presence is felt. So please type your joys and sorrows into the text chat. And if you have one during the week, you can answer the Facebook thread that I usually remember to start, or you can email it to me. And then we'll go through all of them. But some of you have already filled out cards. There are cards in front of you, so you have a few more seconds to fill out a card, and then someone hopefully will come get it and bring it to me or Todd. And now Sabina will place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week.
First, a stone of sorrow. This is Kelly's final day as our office coordinator.
Kelly's seen UU St. Pete through the pandemic, enabling our community to remain connected through YouTube recording and live streaming.
She has partnered with Reverend Ben.
She's partnered with me in managing administrative and worship responsibilities. Everyone get your tissues out. She collaborated with Ms. Janae, with Jeff, with Todd, and others in creating a beautiful, welcoming space for our community.
Sorry we couldn't get all of Journey here for you. That was the plan. But she definitely handled contractors, vendors, renters, volunteers, and people coming to the office door looking for help, particularly the most vulnerable of our community.
Our next stone is a stone of joy, because Kelly said she will remain connected to UU St. Pete. So we will celebrate Kelly during coffee hour in Gilmore following a worship service. Many of you have signed a card. There's like a card for Kelly up in front that you can sign. And we hereby declare March 26th to be Kelly Olson Day.
We have some other stones too. A stone of joy from Ann and Fred Seidel. They left the box that held Fred's new hearing aids in the church, but Lisa Dawn found the box and brought it to the Lost and Found. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, they were really excited that Lisa found that. A stone of sorrow from Ryan Richardson. His cousin Heather is actively transitioning in hospice.
Another stone of sorrow, this one from Karen White for Tim Flaherty, whose wife died on March 18 after a long illness.
A stone of sorrow from Nix Fry. Nix, did you make it here? Are you here? No? Nix is going to try to stop by today for a minute, but sadly for us, Nix is moving back to Pennsylvania today. So they were going to be joining us with this crop of new members, but they will no longer be attending UU St. Pete, but we do wish them well, and we hope to see them in the future. So Nix, if you're listening now or later, blessings on you and on your family, and have a safe trip back north.
A stone of concern from Tris Birch. Her dog Maybelline is recovering from emergency surgery.
A stone of joy from Ian O'Hara, who says, my wife Denise is in good spirits and has started her cancer treatment plan. She will survive, as Gloria Gaynor will say.
I have a few over here as well. Do you have more, Ben?
I don't have any more.
One from our very own Aaron, who's on piano today. He's recovering this week, stone of joy, from a big health scare. He's joyful that everything turned out normal after many medical tests, thankful for great doctors and appropriate medications.
Stone of, yeah. A stone of concern from Sandra Weeks for all the vulnerable in our community who are not being represented or heard in Tallahassee. Amen.
And a stone of sorrow from Nancy Milenchamp, my cousin Christy, who was diagnosed with multiple myeloma last week and started her chemo yesterday.
May we bring to mind and hold in our hearts Ryan's cousin Heather, Tim Flaherty and his family, Ian's wife Denise, all the vulnerable in our community. Myeloma name I'm forgetting.
Christy.
Kristen. All those known and unknown who are facing challenges, who are facing health concerns.
May we strive to respond well to the vulnerability of our community. Remind us all to, in our own ways, to work for the safety and rights of workers everywhere, to be protected, to be upheld. And that includes the right to affordable health care for them, much less all people.
May all of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship and community. And let's place one more stone, Sabina, for those joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to yet be spoken out loud. And let's take about a minute of silence together. Mystery is that we are connected, even when we feel apart. So let's rejoice in the beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be.
Good morning.
John and I were fortunate to get to travel to Alabama 2 weeks ago to be part of his civil rights pilgrimage to Birmingham, Selma, and Montgomery. We were part of the Living Legacy Pilgrimage Tour, a wonderful organization offering several different civil rights tours. More will be offered this summer and fall, and we'd be happy to talk to any of you about this wonderful group.
We both found this to be a life-changing 5-day trip. We'd love to share every minute of our experience with you, but coffee and carbohydrates are waiting next door.
Of course, we knew about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and Ralph Abernathy, but we found out about the many, many heroes of the movement that we'd never heard of. One was the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. In June of 1956, at the same time King was leading the bus boycott in Montgomery, officially due to Rosa Parks not giving up her seat, in Birmingham, Reverend Shuttlesworth organized the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights to combat segregation.
The NAACP was declared illegal in Alabama and several other southern states because of the civil rights work that it was doing. It was labeled foreign and communist, two things that were not allowed in Alabama.
Enter Reverend Shuttlesworth, who smartly named his group the Alabama, can't get more homegrown and local than that, Christian. Governments wouldn't mess with what they considered valid religious organizations, Movement for Human Rights.
The group held mass meetings promoting desegregation every Monday night in nearly 60 churches scattered all across Birmingham at the time. Because the organization was headquartered at Bethel Baptist Church, where Reverend Shuttlesworth was the pastor, the church was bombed 3 times, and Shuttlesworth was attacked and beaten more than any other civil rights leader. Violent opposition to civil rights in the city was so bad that it became known as Bombingham.
John and I also knew about Bloody Sunday in 1965, when many of the 600 peaceful voting rights protesters marching on their way to Montgomery were beaten by police and state troopers after crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. But we hadn't heard about Jimmy Lee Jackson, whose death was the catalyst for that march.
And we got to cross the bridge on our trip. Just days before, while he was taking part in a peaceful voting rights protest in nearby Marion, Alabama, armed state troopers began beating the protesters to disperse them. 26-year-old Jimmy Lee fled with his mother into a nearby restaurant. She had been injured by troopers, and he was trying to get help for her.
The state troopers followed him into the restaurant, beat him, dragged him outside, and shot and killed him. This horrendous act galvanized the black community in Marion and Selma, and the decision was made to march from Selma to the steps of the state capitol in Montgomery.
Before we went on this trip, we had heard about the Reverend James Reeb, Unitarian minister who was beaten and killed in Montgomery after coming to participate in the march. But we'd not heard of fellow Unitarian Viola Liuzzo.
After the third and successful attempt at marching to Montgomery, the protesters, whose numbers had swelled to 25,000, successfully completed the 5-day march to the steps of the state capitol.
After the march, Mrs. Liuzzo, a young white mother of 4 from Michigan, was helping shuttle protesters back to the Montgomery airport to return to their homes when she was shot and killed by members of the Ku Klux Klan in a pursuing car.
We also got to see the spot on the highway where there's a marker where she was killed. We had a very rich experience on the pilgrimage. These are just 3 of the many heroic foot soldiers of the civil rights movement who weren't afraid to be targeted because of the change they were willing to fight for. It was quite a trip. We visited a number of amazing museums and monuments and heard talks by a number of people who lived through those days.
As we listen to Reverend Ben talk to us today about being targeted because of who we are and what we believe, may we all find inspiration in these lives.
Better times will come, better times will come, when this world learns to live as one. Oh, better times will come, when we greet each dawn without fear, knowing loved ones soon will be near. When the winds of war cannot blow anymore, oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Though we live each day as our last, knowing one day soon this will pass, we will dance, we will sing in that never-ending spring. Oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Better times will come. Better times will come. When this world learns to live as one, oh, better times will come. Oh, better times will come.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Thank you, John. Thank you, James. I want to take a minute also to thank the racial justice team. Who's on the racial justice team? Yeah. Thank you so much for last week's worship service. Anyone else? Thank you. I saw it on YouTube Live. It's not the same, and I didn't get to see the talk back, but I heard that really went well as well. So thank you for all that essential labor, and it really adds to why we're doing this work, hearing about your trip, and I do want to hear about the whole thing. So some of you requested another explanation. I know it was explained last week why we split into caucus groups for the talk back. There was a group for BIPOC people. Remember, BIPOC is Black, Indigenous, people of color. And there was a group for white Unitarian Universalists. My understanding was this was originally Ariana's idea. Are you here, Ariana? No? Well, that's my understanding, that it was originally Ariana's idea. What happened was she and William, I think you two were the only ones there. Is that what happened? Yeah, and so they ended up coming back here. But I still want to address the general question of why we do caucus groups in Unitarian Universalism, since some of you asked me this week. We caucus because it's important for BIPOC UUs to have a space to speak of their struggles, knowing it won't get questioned, won't get defensive responses. So for BIPOC UUs, the fear is if they're honest about their experience and their feelings, those very experiences and feelings will be denied. And why this fear is there is because it's born of their having had well-meaning white people, well-meaning white UUs like me do exactly that over and over. Deny the experiences, minimize, and also shift the focus on to us as whites. Now, for white, with me so far? Okay. For white UUs, Why we caucus is it can be a place where we can blunder, where we can grow without causing harm. So caucuses aren't advocating segregation. It's a step to coming back together then and addressing racism and white supremacy after we've had this time apart. Caucuses are a dedicated space where folks can grow and learn in an environment where it doesn't perpetuate the already problematic power dynamics and silencing of marginalized communities. Now, Janae wrote something about this. She can't make it to worship today, but she said I could share her words. She said, as a person of color, I would like to share a thought to consider for people that are white. It is not always easy to have conversations about our experiences in a room full of white people. When we do, we are met with eyes of concern, compassion, pity, and I'm glad that isn't me, or it can't be that bad. Often, as part one, it is necessary to separate, to then part two, come together to hold the larger discussions. It is uncomfortable, it is unnerving, foundationally disturbing, and yet necessary. Janae goes on to say, if people truly applied the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism to their totality, we wouldn't need the verbiage of the 8th. But they don't, and we do. That was me, that wasn't her. Back to Janae, though. She says, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Beloved Conversations. It's an online class that many of us have taken at Meadville Lombard. We meet in Zoom rooms. She says the entire layout is conducted in this way. She says, I completed the BIPOC classes and came back to discussions with white people, and it was a lot of work, but I was grateful for the talks we had. Janae ends by saying, I send you love. So thank you, Janae, if you're watching. And this work can indeed be uncomfortable and messy. It can bring up feelings, both for white UUs and BIPOC UUs. And for some white UUs, even the phrase white UUs isn't comfortable, because maybe you don't think of yourself as white. Maybe you don't see color. But as we learned last week from the racial justice team, even though you don't see color, the rest of the world does. Even though you don't see color, historically your ancestors, my ancestors, have been given privileges that BIPOC ancestors have not. Some of you wrote me saying you don't think of yourself as white. And one person in particular said, your life has not been one of privilege because of your identities regarding class, regarding religion. And let me be clear, I do think white UUs have white privilege. I don't think most white UUs have lives of privilege. So my life has been pretty hard for a number of reasons, but my race is not one of those reasons. Make sense? I'm not saying white UUs don't have struggles. I'm saying our skin color doesn't add to those struggles. So yes, it can be hard for white UUs to become conscious about our privilege. But guess what? It's not as hard as being a victim of racism every day. It's not as hard as being asked if you're the cleaning lady or if you're related to Janae or, oh, you must be new here, over and over, constantly. It's not as hard as being Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, John and James told us about, or Viola Liuzzo. So if we listen to Janae's words and we really take them in, we believe Janae's lived experience, I think we are making ourselves vulnerable in a state where our leaders don't believe racism exists anymore. And in a moment, 16 of you are going to declare publicly that you're joining us as members. In these past weeks, many of the rest of you who are already members made a financial pledge for the next fiscal year. So thank you. And you got to know, you're making yourselves vulnerable by taking these actions. in the state of Florida associating with this congregation publicly is risky. Reverend Shuttlesworth's church got bombed. Our Black Lives Matter banner has been taken twice. But our love is stronger than their fear and their hatred. And UUSP shows up for sensible gun control. Many of us were at the gun control rally this week. We show up for reproductive justice. We show up against censorship. We support the teaching of African American history in our schools, or as we like to call it, history. We show up for trans rights. We show up for LGBTQIA plus rights. Heck, many of our leaders are LGBTQIA plus, including, me, your bisexual minister. And we're going to show up on Monday night. Probably about half of us are going to show up for the Fast Nehemiah Action, together with thousands of other church members from Pinellas County. We'll come at 5:30. The bus leaves at 5:45. We're going to share the bus with our colleagues at the historic Bethel AME Church. And the work is messy. It's going to continue to be messy. But we neither expect nor do we offer perfection. We will not agree on everything. But let's agree to stick together, even when we disagree, especially when we disagree. Let's agree to stick together on what's important, because our disagreements don't matter as much as Janae's life, Ariana's life, as Gordia's life, as Beth's life. I'm an older, cisgender, white guy. My life has been hard, but it hasn't been made harder because of my race, or because of being trans, or because of the color of my skin. And yeah, publicly saying Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter does kind of paint a target on my back, and I'm all right with that. Because the target's already painted on Gordia's back. It's already painted on Janae's back and on William's back, and I don't want them to be alone with this. It's like our kids didn't want Todd to be alone. So I'm with them. The powers that be in this state want to come for you, they have to come through me. And I think a lot of the people here too. Each of you who have joined this congregation is with them. Each of you who have made a pledge is with them. And this Friday is Transgender Day of Visibility. So I bring a quote from Laverne Cox. Laverne says, "It is revolutionary for any trans person to choose to be seen and visible in a world that tells us we should not exist." Gordia, we will risk being vulnerable by being with you. Janae on the camera, Beth, we will risk being vulnerable by being with you, by siding with love, as my stole says, by siding with justice. And we won't just be with you when it's easy and nice and we're all kind of feeling it right now. We're going to be with you when it gets hard and when it gets complicated, when our feelings are hurt, when some of us think, let's focus on something else. We're going to be with you. Our kids risk vulnerability. They didn't even hesitate. Well, won't it make us vulnerable? Yeah, it'll make us vulnerable, but it's the right thing. We got to do it anyway. They did not hesitate. And the least we can do is follow their example. Most of you know our seventh principle, interconnectedness. I don't think of it as just sort of this cerebral concept, this philosophy. I don't even just think of it as theology. I think of it as a way of life, as a lens to see everything in the world, in our state, in our congregation. We don't side with Gordia against transphobia out of charity, or side with Beth against ableism, Janae against racism. We don't do that just because it's the right thing to do. We side with them because Janae, Beth, and Gordia are us, and we are them in a very real sense. We know it's okay to say gay because we are gay. We know that trans people are divine because we are trans. We know that Black Lives Matter because we are black. Because of this, we are made vulnerable. Because of this, we are made strong. So when the winds of war cannot blow anymore, when this world learns to live as one, better times will come. I mean, what would Florida be like if everyone used that lens, if everyone saw everyone else through that lens of we are all connected, that lens of interconnectedness? What would Florida be like? Let's find out. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. What's next? Oh, I stay up here. I want to invite all of our new members to come forward, and while they are doing so, where's Claudia? Claudia. No Claudia? Okay,
Ben,
cool. So we'll go to...
We've skipped over a little part.
What did we skip?
But that's okay.
It's not my turn.
We do not offer perfection. We gather here to learn and strive together. Let's now offer what monetary gifts we're able to ensure that we can take care of this place. In this sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received. And the part Ben's going to do is he's going to get the bowls from over here and stand here.
Now I want to invite the new members to come forward. And while they're doing so, Carol Ulmer, our membership co-chair, and I will say their names.
Danny Bly,
Christine Churowski,
April Cook,
Ann Decker,
Millie Jones,
Gordia LeClaire,
Allison Lonke,
Amy Rodriguez,
Bill Tripoli,
Steve Sanderson,
Harry Showalter,
Paul Showalter,
Claudia Sundman,
Eileen Wright,
Russ Lapari,
and Ron Steinacher.
As co-chair of the membership team with Fonda Hughes, I want to welcome you to our wonderful UU St. Pete congregation. While I have not had a chance to get to know you, I hear you are an amazing bunch. We are delighted you have made the decision to embrace the principles that guide each one of us and invite us to become our best selves. All of us are energized by your commitment to our congregation. Each one of you brings a unique experience and perspective of what it means to be part of a spiritual community. You challenge us to continue our search for truth and meaning, and to be part of the interdependent web where we respect and value each other. We invite you to view today as a beginning. Seek to continue your journey to become wholeheartedly engaged in the multiple aspects of our community that call to you and serve others. We will reach out to you and ask that you reach out to us individually and collectively. Many thanks for putting your trust in our congregation. We welcome you with open arms.
Thanks, Carol. Now here at UU St. Pete, people have gathered for over a century, since 1914, when those first couple of signatures were in that book from the first two families, seeking a higher purpose and a deeper life than they could find alone. And we're grateful today that each one of you, that you've found your way here, and that you've decided to make a commitment to this faith community. We hope that as members of this community, you will allow yourselves to know and to be known, to minister to and to be ministered to love and to be loved by this congregation. So if after all that you still want to join us, you have your commitment phrase in your hands. Please say it in unison.
I affirm my commitment to this congregation and the responsibilities that it entails. I enter this community willing to grow and ready to serve.
We have a congregational response, and it's in your order of service. We, the members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist Church, St. Petersburg, welcome you to this congregation. We pledge to be a supportive community that respects who you are and affirms all that you can become. Cry with us, laugh with us, work with us. Together, we seek the highest good. We are glad that you have found in us a home for your spirit. Welcome to you, St. Pete, everyone. It's good to have you with us. Your graduating class from this membership.
I just want to do a special thank you to Reverend Ben, or as I know him, Daddy. Thank you.
I'm sensing a tradition.
That would take too long to explain. Half of you are laughing and half of you look horrified. I'm now thrown off. Thanks, Gordia. The Showalters have not made an appointment with me to sign the book, so I thought it'd be cool if they did it right in front of us. So there they are, signing the book, the same book. So let's face the chalice once Paul is done, and let's say our covenant again together with our new members. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant. Dwell together in peace, seek the truth in love, to help one another. And now in a much more prosaic move, if you would take a picture of our new members, and then because there can never be enough pictures, we'll have them go down here, and then Cheyenne's going to take a picture from behind, and then new members standing in front, and everyone else behind. Got the first picture first. Thank you, Cheyenne. And now switch places with Cheyenne if you could. Careful down those steps. And guess what? We have gifts for you. We have name tags, but we also have these cool little bags filled with gifts. So after the photo, I will give you gifts, I will give you name tags, and everyone else will be singing the closing hymn. If you're truly skilled, you can do both at once. But first, two pictures, one smiley picture, and then you asked for a silly picture, so here's the opportunity for a silly face picture. Everyone else, rise as you're willing and able for our closing hymn. Number 1054, Let This Be a House of Peace.
I can see if there are any recruits for the choir here in the new group. Let this be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question in our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of freedom, guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred difference here shall not divide us. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let all in this house seek truth, where scientists and mystics abide in reverence here. Let this be our house, a house of our creation, where works of art and melodies consecrate the atmosphere. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of prophecy. May vision for our children be our common theme. Let this be our house of myth and lore and legend, our trove of ancient story and cradle of our tender dreams. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
invite you to remain standing. Follow along with the hand gestures. Light of truth, warmth of love, fire of courage. As Todd extinguishes our chalice, the words are in your order of service. YouTube, I haven't forgotten about you. They are online. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts out into the world. Please be seated as Aaron plays our postlude.
Our closing words are by Reverend Maureen Killeron, as inspired by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. No matter how weak or how frightened we may feel, we each have gifts that can make a difference in the world. In this coming week, may you do at least one thing to support the broken, to welcome the stranger, to celebrate what is worthy, to do the work of justice and love. Be strong, be connected. Each day, act so you may be a little more whole. It's great to see you all. Please join us in coffee hour in Gilmore Hall. Blessings.